Namaskar. What is happening in Ukraine? Well, it is clear that Ukraine is collapsing. That is what Putin has said. Putin has warned Trump. Putin has warned Trump. What is it about? Now, what is the secret Russian plane? What is happening? What is the chilly winter that is being talked about? Why is Israel warning Jolani? And what does Iran do? Why is Iran sulking? And what is happening in Pakistan? There are a lot of events what have happened, and yesterday a major attack has happened in Ukraine. We are going to cover everything in detail and talk you through each and every development what is going to happening. But you have to stay with us till the last, and best is comes from the last. That is the Pakistan. Hold on to us.
Namaskar. We start with Ukraine. Over to you, Sumit.
Namaskar. Well, there has been a couple of developments. Let me take you to give you the perspective what has happened in the background. Look, there was one important development which happened, I think, day before yesterday evening. The development is that, after Trump meets Zelensky in France, where Trump tells him, look, buddy, you have to end the war. Zelensky says, sir, you have to protect me. And what is the protection? Protection means NATO, and NATO is a bone of contention. Now, what has Trump told? Trump has already said that America will walk out of the NATO. We are not interested to be a part of the NATO. So the things change. When Trump reaches back US and Zelensky, what does Zelensky do? Zelensky tries to up the ante. He very recently attacked a Russian airfield with Russian and American ATACMS. Now, when this attack happened, how did Russia retaliate? Now, though there was deflected, nothing major happened to the Russian infrastructure, but Russia retaliated by use of, 200 drones and 93 missiles. Now, 200 drones were all kind and tripod drones and 93 missiles. The missiles were even ballistic missiles, the missiles were surface to surface, and even the guided missiles. It was a mixed bag from Russia. This is the biggest attack Russia has done on Ukraine recently. What was on the attack? The attack was the power or the energy infrastructure of Ukraine. Power infrastructure means wherein you have electricity stations, you have coal power turbines, you have anything to do with oil, gas, basically anything to do with energy sector of Ukraine. When after this attack, Zelensky was really rattled. He doesn't know what to do because this kind of attack was unforeseen. Vladimir Putin says, look, this is in retaliation to the attack which you done on a Russian military base using American ATACMS, and we have not responded in that same fashion but in a different way. Now, according to Ukrainians, a few missiles were intercepted and a few missiles were stopped, but the fact remains most of the missiles could not be stopped, could not be intercepted, and that is how the things happened. So here the problem is that Russians are feeling a big hit. Ukrainians are feeling a big hit on their infrastructure. It's believed that almost half of the Ukraine is without electricity, and there are very less chances of restoring the electricity. And let me remind you, a similar attack was done by Russia around a month back. Then they kind of somehow came back and bounced back to life for the weeks. And there were some people who were left without electricity for days. Now the challenge today is that the winter is already set in. The temperatures are below the freezing temperature, and at this point of time, imagine you and me living in a country where there is no power, the lifts are not working, you don't have water coming in, all life is disrupted and you have no heating coming up. And let's not forget, by the end of the December, Gazprom's contract with Europe and supplying them the gas and all is also going to be over. So with this development in Ukraine, what has happened is that Zelensky is literally on his knees. Zelensky went to his Twitter handle and started tweeting, oh, world should come and rescue. This is not fair. This kind of a Russian attack is not there. We are being challenged, and the idea is to make Ukraine come to knees. That is what Zelensky writes. You want to dismantle the Ukraine. What peace is Putin talking about? Before peace, you want to dismantle the whole Ukraine. Is this what is the Putin's peace plan? The world should intervene. Everybody should get into it. This is what is happening. He was going all the guns blazing, accusing the Putin and trying to get the world involved into this. While in the meanwhile, Donald J. Trump has very clearly stated, look, the idea of using American-made missiles or ATACMS on mainland Russia is not acceptable to me. This is what Putin has clearly said. This idea is not acceptable to me, and I'm not going to let it happen. In the meanwhile, when the attack happened, it is believed a lot of these missiles were stopped by F-16s. Now, where do the F-16s come from? F-15s again come from America. In all probability, when Trump resumes office, the first thing which will go is the use of American missiles or American arsenal or Russian mainland. You won't be allowed to use that. Secondly, there's a good probability that these F-16s will be called back, or Ukrainians will not have the permission to use these F-16s. Now, imagine Ukraine, there are no F-16s, your air defenses are gone, and you cannot use, arsenal on the mainland. Now, what is Putin doing? Putin is upping the ante. Why Putin is upping the ante? Because Putin is not in a very happy situation in Syria. In Syria, Putin is kind of keeping 2 or 3 bases. But beyond that, he is not in a very happy situation. It's for the first time that Russians have felt such a humiliation after a couple of decades. To cover that, what is he trying to do? He's trying to use all his might to get his things moving in Ukraine. Now, it is very important for Putin to have a victory in Ukraine so that whatever the setbacks in Syria have been, it can be compensated from a victory in Ukraine. Give me a second. I'm going to increase my temperature. So this is what Putin is planning in Ukraine, right? That is why he traded off Brasha. That is why he traded off his interest in Middle East. That is why even Putin traded off being a player in Middle East. I have a very interesting point of view on Middle East, which I'm going to bring it to you, but you have to allow me some time. So this is what is happening in Ukraine. Now, the idea is what Zelensky is saying that you want to pound Ukraine to a point wherein Ukraine will be on its knees. So when we are on our knees, we'll have no other option but of peace. When then you are not talking of peace, you are kind of dismantling us, and automatically there'll be peace. He is hinting also at Trump, because Trump said, I'm not going to give you weapons, and I'm not in the favor of using these my missiles on Russian mainland. Imagine a situation after 36 days from now, Trump doesn't give you weapons. Trump, you can't use the weapons on the Russian mainland, and Putin is pounding you right, left, and center. Your infrastructure is gone, your electricity, your power, all the infrastructure is gone. And according to Donald J. Trump, he says today there are bodies which are lying unclaimed of young Ukrainian soldiers who have died in the conflict in fields. Because the weather is cold, the bodies are, unfortunately not rotting, or fortunately, whatever you want to term it as, and they are kept in the fields. They are literally running high and dry there, and this is what is happening in Ukraine. So Trump is saying that this madness has to stop. This loss of life is unnecessary, and Biden's initiative of giving permission of use of American weapons on Russian mainland is a policy disaster. This is where Trump and Biden go like this. They are completely opposite point of view. Now Putin wants a victory, so Putin is pounding them, and Putin said, "Look, I'm not going to use very harsh weapons against you, but this is what I can use." Now, today, Lavrov came up with a statement. He said, whatever we were saying, I think it's good that Trump is a good leader and Trump is endorsing our view. So basically, you can see some kind of a synchrony building between the Trump and Russians, which is very, very important for this ceasefire to happen. Now, before this attack came, one day before, Trump made 2 statements, which are very, very important. The first statement Trump makes is that, we want this war to end, and we will make sure that the war ends at every cost. Every cost. Now, when this statement ends, Putin makes also 2 statements. Putin's statements are, first statement, that, look, which is foreign policy advisor made. He said, look, you have put thousands of sanctions on us. Your sanctions have not worked. Russian economy is growing, point number 2. We have now allies with non-Western countries. Our alliances and our trade has increased. Russia is back to being, economically or when in the rich country list. Our per capita income is increasing. Our exports are increasing, and our alliances with the non-Western countries are at an all-time high. Our trade has increased. We have found an alternate use of mechanism of trading with these countries, which does not include dollar, which does not include SWIFT. That is what Russia has. And technologically, we are doing great. This is what the Putin's political advisor made a public revelation. What does Putin say? Because after Trump's statement, Putin also made a statement. Putin said, your plan was very clear. You wanted to basically weaken Russia, And when the Russia is substantially weakened through Ukraine and all, let's not kid ourselves. We are not fighting Ukraine. We are fighting the complete NATO. We are fighting all the American, all the Western power through Ukraine. When you thought that Russia will be weakened, then your plan was, that is the Democrats, then your plan was to start a color revolution in Russia, dismantle Russia, break Russia into a couple of more pieces, so that what Russia we see today, it is, well, like USSR was broken into a couple of blocks, break Russia into a couple of blocks based on ethnicity, and then when these ethnic blocks come into existence, you will be able to control the narrative in Russia, and ultimately then you will dangle the carrot, let's bring democracy back into it, and that was the end game. Then you will install puppet regimes. That is what your plan was, and at the right point of time, you will involve France, you will involve Germany, and you will involve UK into the game. So by that time, whichever way it goes, either the Russia weakens or these economies weaken. So whichever way it goes, Americans will have a very tight stranglehold on Russia and will have a very tight stranglehold on Europe. Because if you look at the bigger scheme of things, after China, America sees my competitor is Europe, my competitor is India, and my competitor is Russia. These are my three major competitors globally who can stand up to me anywhere whatsoever. So this is what your plan was. Now Putin says, look, nobody can divide Russia and nobody can win Russia. This was direct message to, or direct statement after what Donald Trump said, we have to beat this war at any cost, whatever it may be, or to stop this. So Putin said, you cannot kind of break Russia or you cannot win over Russia. Let this message go clear. And his foreign policy advisor or foreign political advisor came up with all these 10-15 things which I narrated to you. This is what the West has been doing. So it was seen a bit of a face-off between the two. Important aspect which happened in between is that we came to know that, which we covered last time, that she was invited for the swearing in ceremony of the Trump, which he has turned down, which we thought that I think basically this is more to humiliate Xi than rather facilitate him. We don't know about the other world leaders, are they invited or not. So this was.
Did you say that Xi Jinping turned it down?
Yeah, I think the Xi Jinping turned it down.
It is it's very stupid move on part of Xi Jinping.
He turned it down. Reason kya, sir? Because Trump is unpredictable. If he comes there, he might say something. For Chinese man, everything is face. He's not a man who can take insult. Everything is face. And for China, the face of the top man is most important. Still, Americans have not come up and told us for the other world leaders which will be invited or which can be invited. It's still confidential. We'll come and wait that. So, will we have a surprise? Maybe Putin is invited. We don't know. Is it possible? By the way, Putin is supposed to visit India anytime soon. We don't know the dates, but I think very near we are reaching to where Putin will be visiting India. So this is a very, very important step. This between going Trump and Putin. But today, both are on the same page. Yes, this use of weapons has to be stopped and this war has to end. Now, Zelensky is sulking. Now, what happened in the meanwhile? When Trump brings in NATO, there's one more interesting development which happened yesterday. Now, yesterday, what happened? The NATO chief, the new NATO chief, I forget his name. I slipped my mind. He is in office for last around a year. He has not spoken a word still. He came into the picture and he was addressing the media yesterday and he said, look, NATO is the only one who can defend you. And he said, look, Russia and Putin, after the fall of Assad and after the changes in the Middle East and after, in a way, he's admitting that Ukraine cannot stand up to, Russia.
Russia by itself, yeah.
So, and Putin said that NATO is fighting along. Putin is very clear. NATO is fighting along or through Ukraine with us. Now, he says Putin's ambitions will not end at Ukraine. It's the first important statement by a NATO chief. Putin's ambitions will not end at Ukraine. So what are you going to do next? He will go and start taking all the countries. Putin has big designs. He's trying to say that Putin wants to make Russia into USSR again. So he will go and start invading other countries and all. And if nobody can stop him, he says the only one person who can stop that design is NATO. And this is in the backdrop, and Trump has already announced that he will walk out of the NATO. NATO is the only one who can stop stop Putin. And if there is no NATO, so whatever happened to Ukraine today, all other countries will just give up to Russia and say, you're the boss. So that USSR kind of a picture is emerging away. Now, what NATO is doing, because NATO is seen failing, NATO is seen not delivering, and NATO is seeing that they can't stand up to Vladimir Putin. So now NATO is doing this fear psychosis, where you are trying to scare everybody, the shit out of everybody, and say, look, He's the animal. After Ukraine, your number is next. You are the next. After that, you are next. You are next. So they are trying that NATO should be still in place. And after, if Americans exit NATO, I think then the three powerful countries which leave, which NATO, I think UK, France, and Germany, and all three put together are not even 1/3 of Russia. So technically, if Americans leave NATO, NATO becomes a defunct organization. So just in order to keep their jobs and to be still relevant, for the first time after 8 or 9 months in office, we suddenly see NATO chief talking and threatening the whole world and making everybody scared. Oh, it's because of me you are saved. If I walk out of my office, you are all gone. Putin is going to come and take and swallow you and make you a part of USSR or whatever. So this is another important change which has happened. And what has happened here? Now, here, Donald Trump has a point of view. Donald Trump says, look, I have nothing to do in Ukraine. I have nothing to do in Middle East. Joe Biden says, I have everything to do in Ukraine and I have everything to do in Middle East. Because Trump's idea is, get as many of my troops back and let's build America again. Let's protect our borders. Let's get our industries back. Let's get our basic pieces of block in place. And I'm going to tomorrow talk about morning, 10 o'clock, what we missed last Sunday. The most dangerous American weapon of which China is shit scared about. We'll talk about that tomorrow morning. I missed that thing last Saturday, Sunday, and when I have time, tomorrow we'll start with that. So guys, you have to tomorrow join us at 10 o'clock morning sharp, and we're going to tell you this. That's one of my favorite subjects. So what is happening here? Now, if you see carefully, this is one important thing which I don't know how you notice or not. Look, Americans are trying to, it's 36 days before Trump takes over. Now, Americans are trying to move away of Middle East. Russians have already moved away of Middle East. Imagine America out, Russia out. So it is between jihadis and Israelis. And remember Trump saying that war with Iran is not out of the cards. So when these two power factors move out of the Middle East, one block, Americans were supporting Sunnis and Russia was supporting Shias. Now imagine these two guys pull off. After Trump, they will pull off unless until Iran tries to be messy. So if they pull up, the whole Middle East is going to explode. The Shia-Sunni conflicts are going to reach peak and there's going to be a lot of bloodshed. And Israel will get a license to kill. Israel will get a license. I'm going to cover Israel. We have a lot of time left. We're going to cover Israel and how things are happening there. So Israel will get a license to kill. So people in Middle East, when I talk to them, they are shit scared, imagining Americans are gone, Russians are gone. Both of these guys are gone. Who is there to balance? Nobody. Kill for all. Anybody going to kill anybody. And that is what is going to unfortunately happen in Middle East. And Trump has complete plans to move out of Ukraine. So it is between Russia and Ukraine. You settle. Trump is very clear. It's not my war. With Syria, he says it's not my war. You go and settle. It's up to you. I mean, who want to kill each other or whatever. That is what is wanting there. And that makes NATO irrelevant. Because NATO has these big plans to go and encircle, Russia and all that. They were trying to build those fancy plans. Now, Trump says, I'm not interested, guys. I don't want to encircle Russia. I don't need you. So this is where it is happening. Now, Russians in kind of dismantling the power and the infrastructure of Ukraine is basically to cripple everything. Because if you run out of power, your military cannot work, your civil infrastructure cannot work, your telecommunications work, you cannot work anything. Now, with these kind of outages, I don't know. And with these thousands of men lying dead in the fields, nobody claiming their bodies, I don't know how long can Zelensky hold. And today, there is one more important statement from Putin, which I have no idea. I'm still going to decode it after the show, where he says Iran is collapsing. 2 days back, he said Ukraine is collapsing. Then we have seen what happened in the last 48 hours. I agree. Ukraine is collapsing. But now he says Iran is collapsing. What the hell is going to happen in Iran? That will be my interesting aspect to see. Is Iran literally collapsing? What is going to happen in Iran? And even Benjamin Netanyahu has kind of said that Iran is collapsing. So
I was coming to that. There was a big speech of Benjamin Netanyahu just a few hours ago. Viewers, do watch that. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Putin indicating and Benjamin Netanyahu reiterating. What the hell is happening? It's like Hamas does a ceasefire. Jolani comes and takes Damascus, 13 days. What he could not do for 2 decades almost. He does it in 13 days. Russians moving out, Americans moving out. Bashar out of the game. Iran is sulking. Now, these people are wondering who is going to balance. And now, Putin indicating Iran is collapsing. Iran used to be his good buddy. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu says, yes, Iran is collapsing. 40 days back, Putin said Ukraine is collapsing, and we know what happened in 48 days. Guys, do you see some symmetry happening here? I see perfect mathematics, because this part I have to still decode. I have to still figure out and get the pieces together. Why is Benjamin Netanyahu and Putin on the same page? There's something beyond what I can't just get it on the back of my hand. But if I go deep into it, I am very sure I will be able to figure it out. So this is what's happening. So Ukrainians are facing a chilling winter. And don't forget, Putin has already warned the use of a nuclear weapon if push comes to shove. So the call between Ukrainians is a real chilly, freezing winter to a nuclear winter. So what do you want? One, today you have a chilling, freezing winter, wherein you have literally your high and dry, or you want a nuclear winter. Whichever option you want, you can go and do that. So this is where the Zelensky and this is where the Russian-Ukrainian conflict is, because Putin wants to end this conflict, but on his terms. Zelensky wants to get a face for his masters, and Trump wants to be free to tackle two people. Take my word today. Trump wants to be free to tackle two people, China and Iran. Minus that, Trump has nobody on his list. China first and then Iran. Iran is very clear. If Iran gets a nuclear weapon, I will not let you have it at any cost. Even if it means I'll go and do a preventive strike on your nuclear arsenal, I am open to do it. I don't mind, because now it is official. And let me tell you another aspect which you have not known. In the last tenure of Trump, sir, it is believed that he contemplated taking out Iran's nuclear assets with Israel. Right? It was a plan. Now something happened, it did not kind of mature, or they were sure it's not the right time. Something happened. Now this time, it is believed that Trump is already talking to Israel. There are three possible scenarios what they are talking. First scenario, we as America will go and do it. We'll take out Iran's nuclear assets. We'll do it ourselves. So no questions asked. Huh? I have done it myself. Who the hell wants to question me? I have done it. Right? Kiski auqaat hai? Second thing is, you go and do it. You go and do it, Israel. I'll support you. Third thing is, I give you the bunker busters, those super bunker busters, which are UL-15s and all, which you need. So why don't, if I give you that, it will be a very clear message to Khamenei and very clear message to Iran. You cross the line, or you even breathe something fishy. Next day, these bunker busters are going to dismantle everything around you, including Khamenei's bunker. Khamenei's bunker is not beyond their reach. So these are the three possible options which they are contemplating. And that is what Benjamin Netanyahu might have indicated by saying Iran is collapsing. Now, when this news reaches Iran, Iran does not know what to do. Because why is Iran sulking? Iran is sulking. It has lost its control over Assad, right? It has lost its foothold in Syria. And in Yemen, Houthis are also not so active now. And here, the problem is you have a much bigger problem, right? You have a much bigger problem to handle. Things go much complex. Huh? So this is the outer shell. Well, let's go now, guys. Let's go into it. What has happened? What has happened on the ground? Andar kya hua? What has happened inside? Now, this can be a hypothesis. What is the reality? Reality is today Israel. Last time I told you Israel has taken the buffer zone, 245 square kilometers. Today, after Benjamin Netanyahu said that we have to come into an aggressive or a dominating position because the Israeli cabinet has approved that. Where is IDF today? IDF has taken more than 400 square kilometers of land, right? IDF tanks are 15 minutes from Damascus, just 15 minutes from Damascus. That's a very important point you have to 15 minutes from Damascus, 20 minutes maybe. That's point number one. Israel had just now told that, okay, my friends at IDF, be prepared to spend the complete winter in the so-called buffer zone. No, they have exceeded the buffer zone. They have taken a sizable amount of Syria under their control, new Syrian territory, which is beyond buffer zone. And IDF is saying, we are going to be here for the complete winter. Koi jaldi nahi, we're not in a hurry. So as I have told you, IDF will not leave. They are going to be there based permanently. They won't leave an inch of land. So you wanted to make a point, and I'll continue.
Yeah, viewers, in the morning, I had done a detailed show about the Druze community, DRUZE, and it's doing extremely well. It talks about the Druze community, how they are spread in pockets in Syria, and how whatever Israel does there could be a template for India to repeat in Bangladesh, because the Hindus are also in pockets here and there. So just watch that program for just that purpose, and we are going to come back to that in a few days. But over to you, sir. ये बहुत ही important चीज है. Please go ahead.
Very, very important. Very important. So now That is where. So Jolani, whose rebels were threatening, inshallah, will win Jerusalem, Israel Kurds sent him a message. Fall in line, otherwise I'll send you to Nasrullah or to Bashar. Either you have to leave or you have to die. That is what Israel Kurds meant. Now today's message is IDF is not leaving the buffer zone, so-called buffer zone. They've crossed the buffer, so they are going to be there. Good news. Now, in the meanwhile, what happened? When this all things were happened, Israel, what did Israel do? Israel did sorties. Israel dismantled all the navy of Bashar Assad, I think 350 targets or 250 targets, and Americans destroyed 150. So both put together in Damascus, they have destroyed more than 400 strategic targets of Syria, which includes their navy, missile bases, Hezbollah factories, anything to do with ISIS, Hezbollah, anything. So now if you look at Syria, no aerial defense, no missile launching capability, no ammunition factory, everything is done and dusted. Israel has taken the 50% of your area, 30-40% of your area, and everybody in Middle East is sulking with this. Initially, Saudis were also very unhappy about it, but after Khalifa had an egg on his face, Saudis are now happy. They have been very recently. There was a statement from MBS wherein he praised Israel. So this is again a development. He praised Israel. This is again a development. You see how I told you it's a whirlpool of undercurrents. No, I at times lose my head. What has happened next? And so now suddenly MBS is saying, oh, Israel did good. At 24 hours back, 48 MBS was very unhappy. Oh, why did you go and take that part of Syria? Because when Khalifa tried to get his scholars up and MBS was looking down, then the things changed. He said, okay. Now the talk is again there that these Kurdish rebels are in talk with Jolani. Declare us an independent state, we will not mess with you. When we are done and independent, then we have to settle our scores with Khalifa. He has killed a couple of our guys. Yes, there are a lot of similarities between these Druze guys. They follow a mix of what is called as between India, Islam and Judaism. They follow a religion which is a mix of three. A lot of customs are common. By the way, okay. So coming back to the Middle East. So this is what is happening here. Now, with these changes which are rapidly changing on the ground, now there's one more important development. The Syrian Navy doesn't exist today. Syrian Air Force is already dismantled by Russians to a great extent, those rebels and all. Now, even the Syrian arms factories and all are not functioning. There is no asset. There is no asset of Hezbollah which is working in Syria. And the shipping routes or the smuggling routes of the arms from Iran to Lebanon and other parts of and the West Bank and all were coming from Syria. Now, all those routes are eliminated by IDF. So IDF is relentlessly bounding and pounding. Now IDF is 20 minutes away from Damascus. This is the reality of life. This is how it is happening. Now, in the meanwhile, we come to know of a secret Russian plane which has flown from Moscow and which is going to Syria. Now, what is in the secret Russian plane? What are the things which are going? Because look, Putin has already cut a deal with HTS that Putin will retain 2 or 3 air bases. I think Israel is okay with that. Americans are okay with that. HTS is okay with this. Kurds are okay with that. And everybody is okay with that. So what I see in Syria, there will be 4 parts. You will have this Kurdistan, which will be dominated by Kurds. You will have the Muslim part of Syria. You will have the Christian part of Syria. And the part which is occupied by Israel will ultimately become a part of Israel. And Sree sir and my dear friends, if you remember 6 months back or 9 months back, I told you, after this conflict, the boundary of Israel will be 2 times. You will see a new Israel which will be 2 times the size of the current Israel. Can you see it's literally happening there? They control half of Lebanon today. They almost control half of Syria today. This is exactly what Israel is going to do. And I told you Israel will not leave an inch of land. Now there's also a plan which I've been talking about that these Palestinians will be deported to Syria. They will be deported to Syria. This is also a part of plan. So this is what is happening. Now, Israel's warning to Jolani is very simple. Israel has warned Jolani, look, you have to fall in line. Don't try to attempt anything with your rebels. You are in our hitting range. You have no defenses. You have no arsenal. You have nothing. So, awqat mein raho. Now, suddenly Jolani has become a saint. He's talking of, I am for an all-inclusive government. And, I will have this, all religious minorities will be taken care of, which is all 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗪. 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗪 is when you say, when you lie just to protect your religion and your identity. That is permitted in Islam. You have to just to win my trust. You can lie from all 32 teeth. You can do anything and everything to make me believe I'm your friend. And when you get the right opportunity, stab me in the back and cut my throat as mercilessly you can. That is what is broadly the 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗪 means. So this is what they have been trying to talk to them. Look, we are there to protect you, and we are going to protect our minorities. Though I have seen videos that Christians have been killed, and all the Shia soldiers of Bashar Assad have been massacred by the HTS guys. This is also truth. And there is a video now wherein Jolani on record 3 years back has said, yes, after getting Damascus, we'll march to Jerusalem. Now his jihadis were talking, we'll march to Jerusalem after Israel cuts warning and Israel taking a very commanding position. I think their ambitions are halted for some time. Sree sir, you wanted to make a point, and I'll continue.
Yeah, Syria does not wear hijab, as far as I remember. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, Syria doesn't wear hijab. Syria, because the Christianity in Syria is much older than anywhere in the world. It's where literally Christianity started. So unfortunately, those Christians and all have been eliminated. It once was a Christian-dominated country. They converted it into an Islamic country. It was never an Islamic country, and they were very forward-looking and all. Like I always said that they used to call Beirut as the Paris of Middle East. Now, unfortunately, that is not what it is today. Now, if I come to the Iran, now there's one more angle to the Iran. Now, Iran has accused directly Turkey. You remember there was a friendship between Iran and Turkey when they accused Americans and the Israelis for supporting HTS, and they said, oh, Turkey has nothing to do with it. Now, after the things have changed, after the paradigms in geopolitics have changed, what is now, Khomeini came and directly named Turkey. I thought he will name Jordan. He didn't name Jordan. He directly named Turkey. It is because of the Turkey, and it is because of Turkey, their support to HTS, we have lost a friendly regime in Syria. Now, problem of Hezbollah is today, problem of Khomeini is, look at the timing. Now there's a ceasefire. Khomeini had plans that when the ceasefire happens, I'll keep on shipping arsenal to Hezbollah. Hezbollah will be up again. They will take a year or 6 or maybe a couple of months to come up again. The arsenal will keep on coming. I'll strengthen my arsenal bases in Syria, and then we'll again do what we are good at, and that is betrayal and killing Jews and Christians are for minorities. Now what happened is, now the problem is Syria is gone. Now in Syria, Khomeini doesn't control shit. This is the reality, right? All the assets of Khomeini and Iran are dismantled in Syria by Israel. All the assets of ISIS are dismantled by America. Syrian Navy, Syrian Army, everything is defunct, and who are live soldiers, they have crossed to Iraq or they have got killed by HTS. So Syria is a barren land where anybody controls everything. That is the first reality of Syria. Khomeini's access to Syria is cut because Bashar is not there, right? Khomeini tried to cut a deal with Turkey, that did not work. Now Khomeini is worrying, what does he do? How does he arm Hezbollah? Because there is no other route for him to arm Hezbollah. Now what is Israel saying? Israel is saying, look, I dismantle Hezbollah. Because if I don't dismantle Hezbollah, Bashar would have not been gone. Bashar is gone because I dismantled Hezbollah. Hezbollah was dismantled. They could not help Bashar. And remember the guy Jama and his gang of 11, which was dismantled by Israel. So because we dismantled Jama, we dismantled Israel. That is why the things were gone there. So after these things have been done, they really don't know what to do and where to go. So they are also wondering, how do the things shape up from here? So imagine if Hezbollah was in full command. Remember, Hezbollah had given 80,000 soldiers to Bashar, 80,000 with guns, with arms and ammunition. Now, what did Iran do today? Iran could not give anything to Bashar. Neither soldiers, neither guns, neither ammunition. And there was a lot of resentment in Islamic Revolutionary Guard. Islamic Revolutionary Guard believes that the situation in Syria was handled very badly by the political masters. The political master, is it Khomeini or is it Parkazin? We don't know yet. There's a dichotomy there. And remember when I told you that IRGC was ready outside Syria, when Abbasi told that if Bashar wants, we can have IRGC walk into Syria and fight HTS. Then what happened? He went to Turkey. Something happened between him and Khalifa and Hakan, the external affairs minister of Turkey. Then he said, it's American, the Israelis have nothing to do with it. So that gamble of Abbas, Khomeini or Parkazin, somebody went wrong. And in that gamble, Israel dismantled Bashar. Israel did not go and rescue. Hezbollah is gone. All the ammunition is gone, and Israel has taken around 40% of the land of Syria. This is what is sulking Iran now. Because if you look at their bigger scheme of things, they have lost decades of work and they have lost billions of dollars of investment what they had put in this whole plan. Over to you, sir. You wanted to make a point.
Yeah, Sumit, see, interestingly, viewers, geopolitics is now the most hottest subject on social media as well as on news. But in social media, we have the luxury of taking you back and forth in timeline, which you won't find in news. News is always today, now, and so on. So let me tell you, Hezbollah was the feet on the ground of Iran. In fact, they said Hezbollah is more professional than many armies of countries. So taking out Hezbollah, that one incident, pagers going off, and then followed by that, they knew where they were going to meet, taking out the top leadership. These are master strokes. These are real master strokes, because what has happened is Hezbollah is in disarray. It needs time to regroup. But in order to regroup, what can they do after that? They've regrouped. They don't have ammunition because they've deserted them. Everything was towards the border of Israel, and Israel has already walked into that. They are just quietly taking out all those things. Not only that, they know who was supplying them. See, this is the thing. UN is complicit in this. So remember, viewers, 2006, the fight between Lebanon and Israel was a draw, which is why Hassan Nasrallah became such a big household name. This guy stood up to Israel. Right. So once now Hezbollah is completely weakened manpower-wise, that is when Bashar Assad's territory became easy, because Hezbollah could not come to their aid. IRGC, I'm not so sure, Sumitji, that IRGC could have made a difference, because I'll tell you what. In 2003, they said Iraqi Revolutionary Guard, these guys can stand up to US and they will make sure that Kuwait is ours. Kuwait was declared as the 17th state of Iraq and blah, blah, blah. You know what happened? They just ran away. All they did was just 7 days, all done. Yeah. 100 hours or something was the actual campaign. 100 hours. That is 4 hours, 4 days and 4 hours. And the only thing they did was, as they were retreating from Kuwait, they kept burning all the oil wells. So a lot of work had to be done to cap those oil wells, because once you burn an oil well, you can't reuse it. You have to go and drill by the side of it, things like that. Other than that, they couldn't do much damage. So my guess is Iran is at an inflection point now, and it is possible the people will rise against this Islamic regime. You know, that the democracy needs to go back and find its roots again. 1959, Mossadegh was the last government, if I remember correctly, that was democratic and was in Iran. So let's hope for the best. Back to you, sir. We can wrap it up. We have Pak Tailspin still to do, and then we have to take. Yeah,
we have 3 or 4 minutes on this Iran, and then we go back to Pakistan. And 37 minutes gone. Oh my God, I just lost the count of time. Now coming back to Iran, let's focus. Now in Iran, I told you that there is when these mullahs started losing power, they imposed a ban that if anybody cannot, if you are not wearing a hijab properly, and there's a set of rules, if you fit in that, you can be crucified for that. Not crucified, you can be put to death, or a death penalty can be imposed on any girl. We might be 8 years old, or a woman who is 99 years old. So that is what the new mullah regime's gift to people of Iran has been. Now Iran is literally in shatters, and this Putin's indication and Benjamin Netanyahu's statement, I have to still decode it, because there's something, which you have to really go deep and find out. Now the regime in Iran, there is a conflict. What you rightly said, Sree sir, should they have put IRGC there or not? Because there's one school of thought who said you should have put IRGC there. Even if they would have put a fight, it's possible Bashar could have survived, and then Russians would have come to the rescue. Seeing that, Russia said, look at this guy Bashar. He doesn't have anybody fighting on the ground. Let me cut my loss. I have my stakes in Ukraine. Why should I kind of go thin here? And this guy does not have anybody supporting him. In geopolitics, Putin can give Bashar a home or a money or whatever, and Bashar is rich anyway, he's a billionaire. So it doesn't matter for Putin that. But if I want to put my money on you, are you worth it? He's a lame horse. Or Hindi mein kehte hain lagna ghoda. So this phenomena that Bashar was good, now your roots gone, your assets gone, your Israel in Syria, and your Saudis now indicating they are kind of supporting Israel. It's a very, very bad statement for Turkey. And if Kurdistan becomes free, and the first thing they are going to beat shit out of Khalifa. And imagine Americans walk out of NATO. What is NATO after that? Khalifa had only advantage that I'm a part of, when you're talking. So If you walk out of NATO, Caliphate is biggest thing. I can start a war within the NATO, and because I am a part of NATO, nobody can hit me. Now, if there is no NATO, anybody can come and beat the shit out of you. There will be no NATO. Trust me, if Americans walk out of it. So Khalifa has his own set of miseries and a failing economy, the highest inflation in the world, second highest inflation in the world. He doesn't know where to go. His only hope was, I'll get this area. This area has oil. This oil I will use to fuel my economy. Now Americans won't give you oil, Mr. Erdogan. Take my word for it. This is what is happening in there. The Iran, there is a classical dichotomy. If you want to put the IRGC there, the billions of dollars of investment would have been there. We'll be able to revive Hezbollah. We will be able to have the Shia dominance in the region back. Today, Sunnis are winning over Shias. And Jews are winning. So where is the mighty Shias? They are losing to Sunnis and Jews. So that is making fundamentally the regime, being a regime has done this crazy thing about burqa and all. So this dichotomy of sending IRGC in. But the problem with Iran is if you send IRGC in, if they get whacked, which they would have got, there'll be problem. And Iranis forget one thing. When you talked about we'll send IRGC in, didn't I tell you that day Donald Trump said, if you send IRGC in, we'll send American boots on the ground. Then there was a conflict that Americans will be fighting IRGC on Syrian land. America never fights a battle on its war. It would have fought IRGC on, this American Syrian land. But you know what is the problem of Khomeini? You have paper tigers. You have these useless shitheads who, like what you said, what happened in Iraq, the history will repeat. So whatever facade you have tried to create, our Islamic Revolutionary Guard, all the shit what you created around, this will fall like a house of cards. So just to risk that failure, that I don't want this facade, this bubble which I have created to fail, what would I do? Let's sacrifice Assad. Let's sacrifice Hezbollah. Let's sacrifice Assad. Let's sacrifice everything. Where is that Khomeini who said, oh, I'll win Hassan Nasrallah, will wipe out Iran. We'll wipe out Israel and we'll have the Islamic flag on Jerusalem. Where is that Khomeini? All gone. You're hiding in a bunker somewhere. You are afraid of American bunker busters teaching Israel, which can reach any day. At least in next 36 days they can reach. These are the 3 plans which Israel has been computing. So this is how the picture reaches. So there is a conflict now within Iran, which I am loving. But poor Khomeini didn't want his Shane to go with these Islamic revolution. At least today he can talk of IRGC. Good, huh? No, even if they had a face off with the Americans, if they were wiped out, and this is exactly what Trump wanted. You come and face with us, we'll wipe the whole country out. And then in that attack, Americans will 101% take out your nuclear assets. You know why? Then Trump will have a reason. American lives are at stake. If I don't take out your nuclear assets, I risk American lives. License to kill. So Khomeini decided to shit in his pants and hide in the bunker. This is the root cause where the dichotomy is. Now I have to go to Pakistan, sir. You wanted to make a point, then I go to the Pakistan.
Yes. Just wanted to round it off. I think the equivalent of IRGC in Iraq was Republican Guard or Revolutionary Guard.
Republican Guards.
And they said, oh, this is this, this is that. That's when the term shock and awe was invented. Look, I'm not saying it is right or wrong, but what happened, I'm just trying to recollect.
I remember a scene. I was quite young that time. I think in college, I don't know wherever, or just started my career. I saw those Republican guards. They had taken their weapons. They have stripped. They were only wearing trousers, and Americans were giving them bananas. Now the picture came out in CNN eating bananas. Republican, American bananas. Arey yaar, kuch to sharm karo. It's like the Pakistani 93,000 Pakistanis surrendering to us.
Right.
So now we come to the Pakistan Tailspin. Pakistan, there is one important development. As I told you, there's a case against Imran Khan Niazi because they said whatever happened that day in the core commanders attack and all, you are responsible. And now this case, because army personnel are killed, army's assets are destroyed, and national security breach has happened. This case qualifies a military court. Now, for a military court, you just need one person of a very high rank and profile to testify against you. Now, Pakistani army is trying to cut a deal with Faiz Hamid. Okay, by Faiz Hamid, if you want to go out of the jail, testify against Imran Khan. Anyway, his wife is arrested again for Tosha Khan. And Imran Khan, this case of murder and $2.5 billion loss and national security breach and all the murders which happened and all the people got killed is on Imran Khan. You orchestrated this. Now, if 𝗏𝗲𝗻𝗔 testifies against Imran Khan, sir, I can tell you Imran is dead. He'll be crucified now. Now, 𝗏𝗲𝗻𝗻𝗔 will cut a deal. I will testify what do I get out of it. You have to at least guarantee my life and take me out of the country with some assets. So if 𝗏𝗲𝗻𝗻𝗔 ends testifying against Imran Khan, you will know that 𝗏𝗲𝗻𝗻𝗔 has cut a deal and he will go out of the country. He will live a luxury life on somebody. That is why Bashar Assad was smart. He never went to Jordan. He never went to Turkey. He never went to Egypt. He never went to Iran also. He chose to go to Russia. This is why I love Assad. Assad's wife is smart, by the way. Asma is very smart. So Asma told him, don't trust any Muslims. Go and trust Christians. They are a better lot. At least they will keep their promise. You see, this is exactly what is happening here. This is exactly what is happening here. That's why I'm trying to drag an analogy here. 𝗏𝗲𝗻𝗻𝗔 gives, he will run away from Pakistan, live in a country, and Imran Khan will become history and he'll be done and dusted. This is how Islamic world works. This is the reality of life. And another thing is that, now you see, in India, the #1 producing solar plant is in India, and number 3 producing solar plant is in India. Modi ji started the 𝗠𝗎𝗏 Alliance, a solar alliance, and we are producing highest amount of solar energy in the world. When all these things are happening, our friends in Pakistan and China are sulking. Now, Chinese have a lot of dead capacity, right? They don't know what to do with this dead capacity. What they have done, when Chinese, when their shit starts exceeding anything, when their grains start rotting, when they are this food becomes even unfit for rodents, when their medicines expire, when their Chinese medicines need some guinea pigs, they look for Pakistan. So this all crap, these all junk solar panels, which we have even covered in our Endgame series, which is lying in China because there's nobody taking for that. What have they done? Chinese have gone to Pakistan and done an MOU. So Pakistan is going to buy all the junk, import it into Pakistan and make power out of it. Now imagine Pakistan making solar power, the gestation period, the technology, and the top of that, where does your photovoltaic cells come from? They come from China. And what are these photovoltaic cells? Guys, if you remember the Endgame series, I told you there's a third category. I don't have time to go into it again. There's a category, there's a B, and there's a C category. This is all that C category stuff. And in that series also, I told you, you will see in near future, it will be shipped to Pakistan. And exactly it has come to right. The Pakistan has done an MOU. So the people of Pakistan think they are going to get these solar power cells. No, people of Pakistan, you know what are you going to get? You are going to get a green colored, what do you call this? What are those sheets called which we use to cover sheds and all? Vinyl sheets. So basically they look, so you are going to get these green colored plastic sheets which will be dumped on you. So your generals will again make money. And whatever foreign exchange reserves or whatever money you have got from here and there, from IMF and all, China will again take out that money. So the shit of China, the junk of China is sold to Pakistan, which look like photovoltaic cells, but they are mere vinyl sheets. This is the C category. You have to go to that episode, viewers, if you want to watch it. I have explained everything in detail. I don't have time to go over it again. This is exactly what is being shipped to Pakistan. And here, that's why I'm telling you, don't miss the Endgame series episode on China, because this were predicted, this all stuff will end up in Pakistan. And next destination, also I can tell you today, is Bangladesh. Yunus Mia, Assalamu alaikum. Next, you are next. So you are going to buy this crap. This is what is happening. This is the tailspin of Pakistan. So everything there is a scam. Everything there is a canard. Everything there is to rot and con people, and for 𝗟𝗏𝗙 and Neta to make money. That's the reality, sir.
Sirji, 𝗏𝗏𝗿 रास्ते का माल सस्ते में. That's what I think you are meaning.
Sir, वो चाइना में है ना, चले तो चांद तक नहीं तो रात तक. This is the third category. What we explained in this is the third category. This 100% will not work. I can guarantee you this 100%. This is all junk. So that is why Chinese, we're looking, even, sir, imagine, I have few million tons of junk. Even to dispose of this material, I'll need to spend maybe $100, $200, $300 million to dispose it, right? Now, if I have a sucker somewhere who is going to pay me $300 million and buy it, so rather than spending $300 million or $500 million to dispose this junk, if I have an idiot who is going to buy this, I'm happy I saved $1 billion. And so why did Chinese only do a MOU in these third-grade plastic sheets? Plastic sheets, not photovoltaic cells.
Sirji, that is glorified tarpaulin sheet.
And now you got the word right. This is exactly the word I was looking for. That is what it is. So Pakistanis, they might look like photovoltaic cells. They are not. If you want to know details, go to our PGurus episode where we covered this, and it's in Hindi. Hindi अच्छी तरह से समझ आएगी. You can understand everything in Hindi easily and understand what we are told you. And Eunice Mia, you are next. Eunice next. And if there's a third victim, that will be either Sri Lanka or Maldives. I can even predict the third and fourth victim. So it depends on how much junk do Chinese have, right? And the first junkyard is Pakistan. Then eventually they move to the other junkyards of the world. Gee.
Very, very good, sir. Viewers, also one last thing, slightly technical, but it's still very relevant. See the photovoltaic cell panels, solar panels that are made, right? Who do you think China would have made them for? West, that is America and Europe. See, when the sunlight falls on these areas, you need to have a coating called ultraviolet. Ultraviolet rays are what you get because it is much higher than the equator. It is above the Tropic of Cancer, right? Now, for India and Pakistan and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, you should not have UV, you should have IR. Infrared is what is you need. So you think they are going to change the coating to infrared and give it to you? No. Which means whatever 14%, 1/4 that we will get in US, you will get only 8 or 9. Arey baap re baap, you have to think all these things. Why do you go and sign just like that?
Sir, वो भी नहीं मिलेगा. उसमें भी is the quality rejects. Is the third grade mark.
That's true. That's true.
So you might end up at some 3-4%, 2-3-4%. So वो कहते हैं ना हिंदी में 4 आने की मुर्गी 12 आने का मसाला. खाया पिया 4 आना, गिलास तोड़ा 12 आना. This is exactly what is going to happen. And my favorite thing, red and white के पैकेट में बाबू बीडी.
Now let's go for questions. लोन पे जो मिले जाए वही सही. जो भी लोन पे मिलता है वही सही है.
Chinese MOU. Wow.
Magnet Rangaji, US House Speaker has reported to have refused approval of funds sanctioned by Biden to Ukraine. He reportedly said they should wait for Trump. What happens now? Is this a nudge by Trump?
I think technically you can still manage it before Trump takes office, because remember Biden has that authority which we dragged down authority, wherein president has the special powers, and Biden's power is still up to $4 billion. He has used a lot of it, and remember I told you the NATO chief told us that all this $4 billion will be used. So you can technically create a problem, but if Biden wants, he can get it way through. That is my understanding of it. There might be another legal aspect which I don't understand, but this is my understanding of it.
Magnet Rangaji, this is a little bit nuanced. Let me just start. The House Speaker today is a Republican, Mike Johnson. Now, Mike Johnson got to that spot by pushing out a guy who was not very Trump-friendly, Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy came and went, and to take out Kevin McCarthy, what the Republican Party, that is Trump loyalists, did was they used this guy called Mike Gaetz, the guy who was appointed as Attorney General, and then he withdrew his nomination because of some, vagera. So, see, this is how Trump has been trying to assert himself as a Republican leadership. So now Mike Johnson is also a Trump loyalist. So you have to wait and see how this thing plays out. Mike Johnson has a razor-thin majority, razor-thin. This time also people are grumbling, especially in our great state of California, at least 3 races. Very questionable the way the Democrats have won there. 3 seaten pe, because that means that Republican majority is again very, very tight in Congress. So we have to wait and see how this plays out, because these are all lawsuits going through. We have to wait and how this is uncovered, because they are saying that ID was not checked. Now, I've been screaming this, Sumitji, for the last 6 months or a year, when California passed a law, no more ID checks.
Wow, Zabardast.
Wow.
Good.
Yeah.
You want to make illegals have to come and just bolo ka sign karna.
Yeah. So let's go to the next question, please. Known sniper wants to know, Namaskaram Sumitji, Syria has been softened up by US Israel to sort out Iran at a future date. Nobody sheds a tear for Bashar. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Bashar is the eventual casualty, collateral loss. That is what I have been tell you. Look, you know what is the bigger strategy, I think, between Americans and Russians? Maro or marne do. Let them kill each other. Only thing you have to give is Israelis, you have to give them a license to kill. Free hand. Deal with them. And I think somebody listens to PGurus. I've been telling them, look, Israel is your best bet for Middle East. They are literally the dam, they're the janitors who clean a lot of shit. And if there's no Israel, these all will come to Europe and it will reach America. So if you don't want it to reach to Europe and America, outsource Middle East to Israel and just give them a free and keep away. They will manage it. They know the best how to manage it.
𝗟𝗏𝗍, I don't mean to boast, but PGurus is perhaps one of the few channels where we've had retired US generals come, we have had retired Israeli generals come, and we keep getting retired Indian generals on our program. So we bring you that intellectual heft. सोचने की बात है. General doesn't think like a soldier.
No, he doesn't think.
So that is what we are trying to give you by way of channel. I didn't want to boast or anything. This is the truth. Bhaskar Verma wants to know, Sumit-ji and Iyer-ji, 𝗪𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏. Putin is unleashing general winter by breaking their infrastructure. How early will we see Pakistanis backstabbing Iran like Khalifa did with Syria, dollar coming?
Pakistanis will backstab Iran if they have something. Somebody has to give them money or somebody has to give them some allurement. So it depends on who can give them that. If you can offer, if you can afford, they will even backstab for you. It doesn't matter. Pakistan, the good thing about Pakistan is they are in business of jihad. They are not jihadis. Taqwa, Iman, 𝗤𝗙𝗪𝗀𝗏 𝗪𝗏𝗏 is their motto of the army. We believe in Allah and we do jihad in the name of Allah. But there is a what do you call a hyphen in between that says Allah/dollar. So if it is not in the name of Allah, if you have the dollars, they can do jihad for you also. They're very loyal. When you pay them money, they will go and kill anybody in the world. Remember, when there was a problem in Jordan, General 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗿 was called in, he was paid $1, he killed a few thousand Palestinians for them. Pakistan is good at that. Tell them, kisko marna hai. And by the way, with HTS, Pakistanis are fighting. It is confirmed, sir. There is no ambiguity in it. Pakistanis are fighting for HTS because they believe they're Sunnis and the other side is Shia. So let's go and dismantle Shias. So Pakistanis are fighting in Syria. There's no ambiguity on it now.
Next one, please. Thank you, 𝗪𝗏𝗏 𝗪𝗏𝗏. Sir, what if Trump seizes control of Bangladesh in US favor and starts supporting Yunus? After all, he works for Christian interests.
No, I don't think that is going to happen because Trump knows where are the loyalties of Yunus. Trump knows that he works for deep state. He has very clear links with Obama and Hillary and others. So why should Trump put his money on somebody whom he fundamentally doesn't align with? That is not Trump. Trump doesn't work like that.
Also, 𝗪𝗏𝗏, this is what I have heard. I need to double check this. But remember this guy who was the ambassador of United States to Bangladesh, Peter Haas? You know which family he comes from? Levi's. Levi's jeans production has already been moved to India. Our man is trying to foment rebellion in Bangladesh, but pehle apna saman sab bacha lena. Take care of our stuff. Yeah. So look, deep state always wins. They'll find a way to win. This Bangladesh thing is probably some fancy of some mullah somewhere. They wanted to somehow spread this Islam, the more serious version of Islam back in Bangladesh. You know, how many of you know that the Bangladeshi women, regardless of whether they are Hindu or Muslim, they wear sari and they wear botu. They wear the tilak. So this is much more easy to change for India, except that the elements that are bad, they have to ek karke nikalna padega. That's the only way. Next one, please. Srivatsa R wants to know, why can't India move into Bangladesh and create autonomous region for minorities under its control, including Arakan people regions?
Look, Sree sir has done a video on this Arakan army's role. And, we are also talking about this, what you call, there was Three Brother Alliance. We are also talking about Chakmas being activated. So there is a lot of things happening there. You have to watch that video. That's a very good video. So there are a lot of things which have been activated in Bangladesh. I think whichever way you can create it, you have to create a Hindu Desh. There is no doubt on it. Then a country for Christians, and then others can be for Muslims. There's no problem with that. But a Hindu Desh is the need of the hour. You create it directly, indirectly, right, left, center. It doesn't matter if you want to dig a well. Do you want to dig it with a spade, a plow, or a boring machine? Only the speed changes. The objective is to get Hindu Desh in place. And I think it is the responsibility of Bharat to ensure the safety of Hindus in Bangladesh.
Ramchandran wants to know, I have a feeling Modi will attend the swearing in of Trump. What's your view?
Well, what I can tell you, sir, it is not known yet who are the other world leaders they are invited. We know about Xi Jinping, but we don't know about others. So it's only a matter of time. I think if Trump is going global, Modi ji must and has and will be invited. But unless and until he only wanted to kind of intimidate Xi by look, Trump's first target is China, and then it's Iran. Trump has a very clear mindset this time: China, then Iran.
Next one, please. Solid Mercury wants to know, whatever happened to 240 to 300,000 strong Syrian army? Did they run into Iraq and Iran?
Most of them ran into Iraq. Most of them had deserted. Some of them Shias might have gone to Iran. And the problem of these people is that this army has been starving of weapons. This army has been starving of money. This army has been starving of support. Look, the weapons did not come from Iran, right? Because Hezbollah was getting bashed. Hezbollah support did not come. Even now, what I was reading, this 200 to 300,000 army was reduced to a few thousand only. I think still they were 1/10 of the rebels, but they had left nothing. And Jolani said in an interview with CNN that they had done some special training. His people had done specialized training. Now the question which nobody knows even today, which country and where did they do this specialized training? I'm still watching. Is it Turkey? I don't think it's Turkey. Which country and who did this specialized training for Jolani and his men? I don't know.
Next one. Kannan Ramswamy wants to know, why did Netanyahu's confidant secretly visit Russia?
Today I was exactly telling you, sir, Putin indicating something and Benjamin Netanyahu saying something. Do you think this is a coincidence? How did I give you an analogy? First he said Ukraine is crumbling. Then 48 hours, what happened? I told you that. How is Putin and Netanyahu talking the same thing? Putin indicated, Netanyahu talking. And now you have the answer. I think, look, Israel's message to Russia is very clear. We don't want to mess with you. You are friends. You keep away of the Middle East. We know what to do next, and we'll manage all these guys. And, for Putin, after Assad, he doesn't have any strategic interest here. I was wondering what happened to Chinese interest. Chinese tried to cultivate the Shia group as their strategic foothold in the Middle East. This is all backfired. This is nothing of that is going to work. So, but unfortunately, Chinese get whacked like this everywhere because Shinzu never taught them beyond. They never read anything beyond Shinzu. So whatever Shinzu taught, they'll just blindly follow that. And whenever Xi Jinping's great grandmother comes in his dreams, whichever country she will name, he says, "My country." It's like let's say Hitler was kind of influenced by some supernatural force, and he called him the father of the nations. That force. He tell him, "Okay, go attack this country and attack in this formation." Hitler would exactly go and do in that formation and win wars. So likewise, that was his great grandfather. Likewise for Xi Jinping, it's his great grandmother. So these grandfathers and grandmothers, great, dangerous. You don't know which way it will go.
𝗤𝗍𝗍 Adhikari wants to know, US walks out of NATO, then who will finance NATO?
Is the end of NATO practically, technically, but not very fast, but eventually it will end. Look, UK, France and Germany do not have the economy and the resources to run a NATO. So if US is out, NATO practically is defunct. That's what I'm telling you. That's why the NATO chief started threatening all the countries and making all the countries paranoid. Look, is the NATO who can save you? Putin will not stop at Ukraine. Putin is going to come and swallow all of you. If Ukraine cannot handle Putin, how can you handle him alone? So in a way, you are admitting that you, along with the West and NATO, could not handle Putin. So it's a candid admission. I look at that like that way.
Next one, please. Venkateshwaran Venkatramani wants to know, Bangladesh, is India taking any action?
Sir, that Arakan's army wala is I see some action there. Secondly, I believe whichever way it has to be, the push comes to shove, India has to really kind of take action in Bangladesh. There is no other way. Because economic blockades are not going to work. And these Bangladeshis have been threatening us with a $13 billion trade. It will stop trade with India. But when we have $800 billion of exports, this $13 billion is not even 1.5% of our trade. But let me remind you, 6,000 items from India go to Bangladesh. I am urging government of India to stop them and let these people come on the roads and get a flavor of their own medicine. 6,000 items.
Santa wants to know, hi friend, can you bring technical panels to discuss on 𝗤𝗏𝗡 details?
𝗤𝗏𝗡 is, I think 𝗤𝗏𝗡 is the missile which Russians used. We have covered, we have covered quite a bit of it. We have explained you how does it work and what is the uniqueness of that missile. So you have to watch that episode of PGurus. I think we have covered it in quite detail. And how is this missile game changer?
Thank you so much, Sumitji, and this was a wonderful, conversation we had. And viewers, will be back at 10 o'clock with 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗧 Iyerji on internal politics in India. Another cliffhanger. If you want to, come back and watch that one also. See, let's take the Ashirwad of Mahadevji now, sir.
Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, Endgame, 70th episode, and still going strong. We'll talk about the most secret weapon of America, which China and Xi Jinping is shit scared about. Don't miss it. On that note, you have to like, share, and subscribe. You have to help us grow. There are a lot of people who are trying to push us down. A lot of people who are trying to scuttle our freedom. But we are banking on you to make it happen. On that note, I'll try to take your leave. Thanks for all the love, support, and all the patronage we get. Bharat Mata ki jai, Vande Mataram, and Har 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 Mahadev.